Let me tell you something most entrepreneurs learn the hard way. Strategy alone will never scale your business. You can have the best plan on paper. You can know every funnel, every ad tactic, every growth hack, and still you stay stuck. Why? Because businesses don't scale from ideas. They scale from people, energy, systems, and execution. If strategy was enough, everyone who read a business book would be rich. So today, I want to give you 6 things that actually scale a business, the real drivers of massive growth. 1, identity, who you decide to be. Your business will never outgrow the identity you hold for yourself. If you see yourself as just surviving, you'll build survival systems. If you see yourself as a leader, you'll build empires. Scaling starts the moment you stop asking, how do I make more money? And start asking, who must I become to deserve more? Your standards create your results. The business follows. 2, emotional mastery. Markets change, algorithms change, customers change. What doesn't change? Your emotional state. Most businesses don't fail from lack of knowledge. They fail from fear, overwhelm, impatience, and inconsistency. When emotions control you, decisions get sloppy. When you control your emotions, decisions get powerful. Scaling requires one thing, the ability to stay strong when results lag behind effort. Master your state or it will master you. 3, relentless execution. Ideas don't pay bills, execution does. Speed beats perfection every time. Momentum beats motivation. Successful businesses are built by people who decide fast, act faster, adjust on the move. They don't wait to feel ready, they move, and confidence follows action. Execution compounds. Inaction kills dreams quietly. 4, systems that work without you. If your business collapses when you step away, you don't own a business. You own a job. Real scale happens when processes replace memory, structure replaces chaos, systems replace personality. Freedom comes from design, not effort. Build once, improve forever. That's how growth becomes predictable. 5, people and culture. You don't build a great business. You build great people, and they build the business. Skills can be trained. Energy cannot. The right people don't need to be pushed. They need to be empowered. Culture is not what you say, it's what you tolerate. Raise expectations, reward ownership, remove poison fast. Your team is your multiplier. 6, vision bigger than fear. Businesses don't stall because of competition. They stall because of small thinking. When the vision is weak, effort dies. When the vision is massive, people push through pain. A powerful vision pulls you forward when motivation fades. It gives meaning to sacrifice. It turns problems into challenges instead of threats. Think beyond income, think impact, think legacy. That's where real scale begins. Final truth, strategy matters, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. Without identity, emotion, execution, systems, people, and vision, strategy is just information. If you want to scale, don't just work harder, work deeper. Decide who you are, control your state, move fast, build systems, lead people. Think bigger than your fear. Do that, and growth is no longer a hope, it becomes inevitable. Your business will never outgrow the identity you hold for yourself. Before revenue scales, before teams expand, before systems mature, something far more important must shift, the way you see who you are and what you are capable of leading. Every decision you make flows from identity. If you see yourself as someone who is trying, you will build cautiously. If you see yourself as someone who is responsible, you will avoid risk. But when you see yourself as a leader, a builder, a creator of value, your behavior changes automatically. Most people try to change strategy without changing standards. They look for better tactics while holding on to the same self-image that created their current results. Identity is the thermostat. Strategy is only the temperature reading. When pressure hits, when numbers drop, when problems stack up, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your identity. That's why 2 people can have the same plan and get completely different outcomes. Scaling requires a new level of decision-making, faster decisions, cleaner priorities, higher tolerance for discomfort. Those traits don't come from knowledge, they come from identity. When you decide who you are, you decide what you tolerate, what you focus on, and what you refuse to accept as normal. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for confidence. You move because movement is who you are now. The moment identity shifts, standards rise, meetings become sharper. Time is protected, energy is directed instead of wasted. Problems are faced instead of avoided. Growth stops feeling forced and starts feeling natural because behavior is no longer an effort, it is simply alignment with the person you have decided to be. The fastest way to destroy a business is to let emotions make decisions. Markets will fluctuate, customers will complain, numbers will dip, and uncertainty will show up without warning. None of that is the real threat. The real threat is the emotional reaction that follows. When frustration takes over, focus disappears. When fear steps in, decisions get delayed. When impatience runs the show, short-term choices sabotage long-term growth. High-performing businesses are led by people who understand one truth: you don't control the market, but you always control your state. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings, it's about directing them. Pressure doesn't weaken leaders, it reveals them. The same situation that causes one person to panic causes another to sharpen their focus. The difference is not intelligence or experience, it's emotional discipline. Most entrepreneurs know what to do, but they don't do it consistently because their emotions hijack their behavior. They feel motivated when things are working and discouraged when resistance appears. Real growth demands the ability to operate powerfully even when motivation is gone. Consistency is built on emotional control, not inspiration. Every decision made in a low emotional state costs more than money. It costs momentum, trust, and confidence. Leaders who scale learn to pause before reacting, to breathe before responding, to choose clarity over chaos. They train themselves to shift state deliberately because they know that the quality of their state determines the quality of their actions. When emotions are mastered, problems become data instead of drama. Feedback becomes fuel instead of failure. Pressure becomes a signal to focus rather than a reason to retreat. Stability at the top creates stability throughout the organization. When the leader is calm, the team feels safe to execute, adapt, and push forward even in uncertainty. Nothing meaningful grows without execution. Ideas feel powerful, planning feels productive, but neither creates results until action begins. Momentum is born the moment you move, not when you feel ready. Waiting for perfect conditions is a subtle form of fear, and fear disguised as preparation quietly kills progress. Businesses that scale are built by people who act while uncertainty is still present. Execution is what turns pressure into progress. Speed matters because speed creates feedback, and feedback creates improvement. The longer decisions sit untouched, the heavier they become. Fast decisions create movement, and movement creates clarity. Most people overestimate the risk of action and underestimate the cost of delay. Every day without execution compounds confusion, doubt, and hesitation. Consistency beats intensity every time. Small actions repeated daily outperform massive effort done occasionally. High performers don't rely on motivation, they rely on habits. They show up when energy is low, when results are slow, when no one is watching. That discipline creates trust within teams and confidence within markets. Execution builds belief, not the other way around. Mistakes are not signs of failure, they are signs of speed. Correction only happens when something is in motion. Businesses that obsess over perfection stay invisible, while businesses that execute imperfectly stay relevant. The goal is not to avoid errors, but to shorten the time between decision, action, and adjustment. Relentless execution simplifies everything. Priorities become clear. Noise fades. Focus sharpens. When action becomes the standard, excuses lose their power. Momentum becomes a force that pulls the business forward, making growth feel inevitable rather than forced, because consistent execution compounds faster than any strategy ever could. Growth becomes a trap when everything depends on you. If every decision, approval, and problem requires your presence, scale is impossible no matter how strong the demand is. Effort can build income, but only systems build freedom. A business that cannot operate without constant supervision is fragile, not powerful. True scale begins when the business can produce results consistently, regardless of who is watching. Systems turn chaos into clarity. They replace memory with structure and emotion with process. When systems are weak, stress is high because everything feels urgent and unpredictable. When systems are strong, progress becomes repeatable. Tasks are done the same way every time, standards are clear, and performance becomes measurable instead of emotional. Many leaders resist systems because they confuse structure with limitation. In reality, systems create leverage. They allow delegation without fear, growth without burnout, and consistency without micromanagement. The goal is not to remove creativity, but to protect it by removing unnecessary decision-making from daily operations. A scalable system documents what works, simplifies what doesn't, and improves continuously. It allows new people to perform at a high level faster, without depending on tribal knowledge or constant correction. When systems are in place, problems become easier to diagnose because the process reveals where the breakdown occurred. The more a business grows, the more it must rely on design instead of effort. Time stops being spent on fixing the same issues repeatedly and starts being invested in improvement and expansion. Predictability replaces firefighting. Freedom replaces exhaustion. Scale becomes sustainable because the business is no longer powered by willpower, but by well-designed systems that work quietly in the background. A business will never outperform the people inside it. Products can be copied, strategies can be replicated, but culture determines whether growth accelerates or collapses under pressure. The right people don't just complete tasks, they carry standards, values, and energy into every action. When the wrong people stay too long, progress slows, communication weakens, and accountability disappears. Hiring is not about filling roles, it is about protecting culture. Skills matter, but mindset matters more. Skills can be taught, but attitude multiplies or destroys momentum. High performers raise the standard simply by how they show up. Low performers drain energy even when they appear busy. What a leader tolerates becomes the rule, not the exception. Culture is built through daily behavior, not mission statements. It shows up in how problems are addressed, how feedback is given, and how responsibility is owned. Teams that scale take ownership without being chased. They solve problems instead of reporting them. They care about results, not excuses. That environment doesn't happen by accident, it is designed and enforced. Leadership sets the emotional tone of the organization. When leaders are clear, consistent, and demanding with respect, teams feel safe to perform at their highest level. When expectations are vague, performance becomes average. Growth requires honest conversations, fast corrections, and recognition for those who raise the bar. The strongest businesses invest in people before they need them and develop leaders instead of dependents. When individuals feel trusted and challenged, they expand. When people grow, capacity increases without adding complexity. Teams become multipliers instead of costs, turning effort into exponential results through shared ownership, aligned values, and a culture that demands excellence every day. Most businesses don't stall because of competition, resources, or timing. They stall because the vision is too small to demand growth. When the future feels limited, effort weakens and hesitation takes over. People protect comfort when they cannot see something greater pulling them forward. A powerful vision creates movement before results appear, giving direction when the path is unclear. Vision is not fantasy. It is a filter for decision-making. It clarifies what matters and what does not. When the vision is strong, distractions lose their power and priorities sharpen. Fear does not disappear, but it stops being in control. Instead of asking what could go wrong, leaders begin asking what must be built to reach what they see. Small visions create small problems that feel overwhelming. Big visions turn obstacles into challenges worth solving. The size of the vision determines the level of energy available to pursue it. When people believe they are building something meaningful, they endure pressure longer, recover faster, and push harder. Effort gains purpose, and sacrifice gains meaning. A compelling vision aligns teams without constant supervision. It allows people to make better decisions on their own because they understand where everything is going. When the destination is clear, action becomes faster and conflict decreases. Vision replaces confusion with direction and hesitation with commitment. Growth requires the courage to think beyond current limitations. Past results are not ceilings, they are feedback. When leaders anchor themselves to what is possible instead of what is familiar, the business begins to expand naturally. The future stops feeling intimidating and starts feeling inevitable, because every action is guided by a clear picture of what must be created, regardless of fear, uncertainty, or resistance.